Welcome back to Salaam Britain. Listen, in the next segment, we're going to shine a spotlight on two remarkable individuals whose work is not only saving lives, but transforming communities in crisis.
Yes, joining us today are the directors of PHAID.org, a humanitarian organisation delivering emergency medical care and training in some of the world's most challenging environments, from war zones to refugee camps.
Wow. Honestly, and I was talking to the brothers offline, and I was saying to them that, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, doctors and medics that go into war zones, they are soldiers. And they're not soldiers because they are actually a soldier. They're soldiers out of choice. They actually go into these war zones because nothing else matters to them more than delivering that medical aid that is so much required in such situations. So we have with us Dr. Ali Husain, who is an emergency medicine consultant here in the UK, specialising in both paediatric and pre-hospital emergency medicine. He's also a key figure in trauma response through air ambulances and frontline training. Incredible.
Yes, and we also have Dr. Omar Khan, who is also an air ambulance doctor.
And amongst many other things as well.
And of course, he's also a director at PHAID. Now, both are from the NHS, and they work to, help and the displaced refugee populations across the Middle East. But subhanAllah, we're so honoured to welcome them both to Salaam Britain.
Dr. Ali and Dr. Khan. Assalamu alaikum. How are you both? So just for our audience, in case they get confused, this is Dr. Ali Husain. Yes, and then we've got Dr. Omar Khan, mashallah, and they've come from very far. So thank you very much for coming, mashallah, and gracing us with your presence. I believe you were at work last night?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, so a long shift?
Yeah, I got a couple of hours at rest,
Good.
but yeah, it
mashallah.
can be quite busy, yeah.
And I'm guessing you made him drive?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Khair. All right, mashallah. Well, brothers, first of all, welcome to the show. Obviously, the cause that you're both working towards is just so significant and so the impact that you're having is just incredible, mashallah. So well done on starting up PHAID.org, which is a charity, mashallah. Can you tell us a little bit about PHAID and the vision behind it, and how the group of you, and feel free to mention the rest of your team as well, came together to start this up?
Yeah, so the concept of pre-hospital aid was brought to the forefront about a year and a half ago, in October 2023. We don't need to talk too much about that. No. And essentially it was a response to millions of civilians across the world dying in humanitarian and disaster zones, who don't have access to hospital care. So our way of thinking was developing packages and kits which contain medical equipment and training civilians with that equipment to buy them a couple of hours until they can get to hospital.
Wow,
and in that way, we've managed to produce two kits. We've got the pre-hospital aid bleeding kit, which contains dressings, tourniquets. So if you're a civilian injured in a war zone, for example, you can be trained to put a tourniquet on, which may potentially save your life.
Wow,
equally, we've also made the maternity and the neonatal pack. And we know a lot of women in these war zones don't have good access to maternity care. And as a result, we made a pack which contains vital materials for both mom and baby to help their survival, inshallah, to hospital.
And what's the background? What made this initiative, PHAID, happen?
So we are a group of individuals in the NHS, some of us who have experience in disaster zones in Syria, Iraq and in Palestine. And we've seen the difference that these kits can have in those zones, and the amount of lives it can save. There's been so many reported individuals who've been hit by bomb blasts and things, and they've bled out in front of their families. And we use these training methods in this country as well with the Stop Bleed campaign. We've got various kits scattered across the UK. So if you're in London and you get stabbed, for example, and you call 999, they will tell you where the nearest bleed kit is. So similarly, we thought, okay, if we can do that in the UK, why can't we use the same principle and take it out to people in the most needed countries? So that's how the idea came about.
Wow, it's
SubhanAllah.
amazing, mashallah.
No, it is, you know. Now, of
yeah.
course, you know, working for the NHS in any capacity is very demanding. There's lots of pressure on you. But SubhanAllah, to choose to go out into the war zone environments must be
So if anybody working
different.
for the NHS tells us they're overworked, I'm going to say, have you met Dr. Ali and Dr. Khan? Because their team is doing so much more, mashallah.
Mashallah, mashallah, yeah. So what have you found as some of the biggest challenges that you face in those environments?
Yeah.
Well, we have to be careful. What we don't want to do is try and encroach upon what work is already being done.
Indeed.
There's no point in replicating it because, you know, otherwise we're going to detract away from other sort of like charities. The key difference that we have compared to others is the fact that we're actually enabling the individuals to save themselves. And that's the key difference. A lot of other organisations doing extremely valuable work are taking hospitals and medics out there. Our priority focus is to basically teach the civilian, because if the hospitals are overwhelmed or non-existent, and that can be in disasters and conflict zones, or if the medics can't get to the person, or the person's trapped and they can't get to anywhere, if we enable them with that sort of like practice, and it's not just a sort of like basic concept, we've tried to evidence-base this, you know, so we're using medicine and taking the responsibility of the stuff that we've learned from the NHS, the sort of it's research that's been developed as well, so we want to make sure it's not just good intentions, the fact that it's actually based upon the cutting edge sort of like, you know, studies that we've done. So recently in the West, in the UK, we've got trauma management, and there's certain practices we've done which has reduced the mortality of patients by 40%. So it's a huge reduction in terms of trauma injuries. Now, it's our responsibility to take that information and take it to places that don't have access to it, and then also to make it applicable to that individual. So the key sort of like challenges for us was to try and sort of make this and take something that we do day to day, for example, as an air ambulance team, where we're taking our very enhanced skills and very trained people and trying to simplify that into something that a civilian could do to either help themselves or what we call buddy aid, to then help the person next to them. And so part of it was to then take it as an education package. So if they use the packs and they run out of the packs, then at least the education is there, and then we can teach them how to then fashion.
Can we take a look at some of the resources that you've got?
So we've built these into English and Arabic, and we're working on other
amazing.
translations as well. So this is part of our Stop the Bleed campaign.
Okay, great. So, I mean, this is very detailed, mashallah.
So those are samples. Obviously, the way that we printed would be a bit more legible and maybe
Compact,
double-sided.
yeah.
So that's just more for presentation for our conferences.
Okay, amazing.
And we've then focused on not just bleeding. We've also then gone for childbirth, newborns, and then we're actually sort of like spreading across to burns, wound management. So on the basis of information we've looked at, stuff that's the immediate threat to people, we're trying to then focus on those things and doing it in an order to sort of go, well, what's killing the most people? What's the most harmful sort of things they're facing?
And what's the most imminent thing that needs addressing?
Exactly.
Subhanallah. And let's take a look at some of your packs. So this is the medical.
Yeah, so the pre-hospital aid, and this is the bleeding module.
Okay.
And so what this focuses on, it basically gives you a system, as you can see on there.
Yeah.
So if you look at this one here.
This one. Yeah.
So this one, for example, will basically teach people what kind of wounds they need to look out for, and then in which order, because if they treat them in that order, they maximise the survival.
Indeed.
And also they optimise the state of survival. So we don't just want people to survive, we want them to survive with the best conditions, so that by the time they get to a hospital or are seeing a surgeon, they've got more blood in the system. The more blood you have, the better, you know, your outcomes and things like that.
Yeah, and they haven't ended up with like an infection of something, which ends up, even though sometimes they make it to the hospital, but an infection may take them instead.
Precisely that.
Subhanallah, that's amazing. I mean, this is incredible. This is so different to what.
Important, subhanallah. I feel like it's what's needed, because a lot of the casualties that we hear about could have been prevented had they had something like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This was the concept that.
Yeah, I mean, and we try and be adaptable. So over the winter in Palestine, for example, a lot of babies were dying because of the cold. And simple things like body heat, so mother and baby sharing body heat could save that baby's life. So we developed this skin-to-skin campaign, which has helped save several hundreds of lives actually, from dying to the cold. So we try to be adaptable in our approach and try and, like Dr. Ali said, we try and do what's needed out there. And this campaign really helps out there.
Yeah.
You know, you'd think it's just basic knowledge, right? Something that we're so used to doing, but obviously in a space like that where you're constantly under, you know, attack, it's not something that it's not the first thing you think about. Which brings me to my next question. Obviously, you live in a safe environment here in the UK, although you're roles are very impactful and challenging, but you've chosen to put yourself in these zones, in these situations where, you know, you have to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, not just yourselves, but your families, your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, your wives. How do you do that? How do you bring yourself, rise above all of that mental and physical, emotional upset and actually do what you've aimed to do?
So I just want to give a special mention to one of our doctors on our team, Dr. Israel Huq, who's done multiple expeditions to Palestine. And this is the exact same questions we were asking him. I think the first time he told his family that he was going to a war zone, they were very, very scared.
Yeah.
So their husband, their father was going into an active war zone.
Yeah.
But he said he did a lot of prayers and he asked God to look after his family whilst he was away. And it was inspiring when he was telling us. And when the thing that struck me the most is that when he was there and he came back, he said, I've left my new family there. So he left one family but made another family whilst he was out there. So he's very strong-willed, and I wish he was here today to tell you some of the stories.
Well, may Allah give him the highest ranks in Jannah, and I'm sure he takes with him lots of du'as of all of those people that he's helped. How about yourself? How do you prepare yourself emotionally?
Well, partly it's just seeing the experience of other people. So another one of our directors, Dr. May Al-Rawi, who's an obstetrician, who's helped to sort of like feed into the childbirth. She was actually involved she was in Iraq at the time when the Iraq wars were happening, and is personally herself a refugee. So when you see people who've been in those sorts of circumstances and seen what they've been through, and I guess actually being a medic, we live in a very different state of life. We see how fragile it is, but equally the fragility of it just shows the fact that there's nothing. It reminds you of the fact that nothing is within our realms. It's all written. And so, whatever would happen, I could step off and road into Birmingham and get hit by a Birmingham rude boy, But it could be that, or it could be abroad somewhere. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing and the frustration for us is if we have the skills and we're not there using them, what's the point? And nowadays there's a big thing that they talk about in the medical field called a moral injury, and I think this is probably one of the few ways of where, after a while, sending money just doesn't feel enough. And so for us, I think this has probably been actually therapeutic for me at the very least, that I'm doing something different and active to be able to help. That's my personal thing, and I think as a team, that's why we all work together and gel so well.
That's amazing, brothers. That's incredible.
Now, on the back of that, can you describe a moment that, in the field that deeply moved you, or at least it reaffirmed why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah, so Dr. Isra told us about a story in Palestine where the emergency departments there are overwhelmed. And he said he saw a child come in with bilateral blast injuries, so he had lost both his legs below the knees, and he passed away. And he made him think that we've got some tourniquets in our packs that we can show you later on. But if he'd put those tourniquets on both of those child's legs, that would have saved his life. And that kind of gave him the even bigger drive to kind of take this forward. So this is it's called a CAT tourniquet. And there's been multiple studies which have shown that if you empower civilians to learn how to use this, it can definitely save your life. And we have these in our bleed control kits in the UK. So we can teach people how to use it. So it's simple things like that can save someone's life. And it kind of gave him that drive when we came back to push this forward even more.
When you have when you have the understanding of how this works and what can be done, it's so empowering, subhanAllah, that you feel that you just must.
There are some things beyond our control, but actually some of that stuff is avoidable and treatable, and that's not to by any means criticise people out there in terms of what they are going through, but there's stuff if they don't know, they don't know. And so the best we can do.
So we've got the PreHospital Aid bags right there, and the content laid out in that image. Just talk us through all of that, please.
So you can see the instructions most importantly. Basically sort of helps to quickly and simply help them to triage which injuries are most important. And then according to that, so for example, we've started off by saying the fact that if you have an amputation as a result of a building collapse as a disaster, or in a conflict zone as a bomb blast injury, we'd prioritise putting a tourniquet on. As a part of that, we've got these things called hemostatic dressings. So they're special dressings that are impregnated with chemicals that help to reduce bleeding better than just a standard dressing. And then as a part of that, we've got a chest seal, so if you have an open chest injury, to help treat that, and then just general sort of wound management. And then one of the things that we've sort of developed, and so again, as a part of PreHospital Aid, we're actually actively doing some research. And we propose that a medicine that can be used intravenously, so through the arms, like we use in the UK, you don't have trained people out there. So we're basically looking to use oral tranexamic acid. That's the name of the medicine. And that's the thing that was helped reduce mortality in trauma patients here in the UK. So we're trying to sort of go, well, actually, can this oral sort of like route be used to treat patients in these circumstances and have the same benefit based on, developed sort of like countries' research sort of thing. And so we published papers in that regard.
This is such an incredible initiative, and I feel like there's such a long road ahead for it.
Definitely.
So how can we help the collective?
So our main challenges at the moment are, first of all, awareness.
Yeah.
So we want more and more people to know about this. I think, first of all, in the UK, if you go on our website, if you get in touch with us, we can teach you how to use this kit. Okay. So if you yourself know how to use it, that's the first thing. And the second thing, obviously, this costs a lot of money to get out there, and we need lots of these bags out there. We need thousands of these kits to get out there. I'd say one of these bags costs approximately £50 to make with all the kit. So you can work that out. We need to raise money to send these bags out there. So yeah, awareness, finances, and then spreading the word is very important. I think the more people know about this through social media channels. Our social media handle for Instagram is We Are PHAID. So if we can have more and more followers, that'd be really useful for us as well, just to get the word out there, inshallah.
Okay.
And we'll be looking to recruit people as well to help. So people of a medical background, and including not medical, we use researchers, we have graphics artists and other people that are involved. Part of it is developing the concept as well. So we're focusing on becoming a think tank. It's not just stopping at these 2 packs. It's looking to see as to what other needs are out there that we can then develop future sort of things. So, for example, recently there was the issues with the cold. Now that the heat crisis is coming in, there are people dying of heat stroke. And so we're developing a survival series for PHAID as well to be able to address those issues. So certainly funding for development, funding for delivery, and then recruit staff to either take the message and be educated on it, because we do have an education arm, as well as then those people that could help us to develop these future projects, inshallah.
MashaAllah. Inshallah, Allah give you lots of success in that. Now, that is We Are PHAID. Guys, if you want to follow them online, make sure you look them up on We Are PHAID. And of course, as the brothers mentioned, they've got their website, which is on our page right now. You can scan the QR code and follow their social media straight away. This is a cause that should be close to all of our hearts, particularly given how every morning we cover the same headlines. This morning we talked about children and women that are being murdered just for queuing up for food. We spoke about famine. We spoke about, the hospitals that are being bombed and non-existent anymore. I mean, where are the people of Gaza going to get their medical treatment? And Gaza isn't where it stops. We've got Sudan, we've got Syria, we've got so many other places. I think whatever we do is just not enough. And mashallah, these brothers, alongside their team of all the other doctors, alhamdulillah, have come together for this cause. And as I mentioned, they're not doctors, really. They're soldiers, because they're choosing to go into these zones, and they're doing it for us, so that we can feel like we're contributing to the change and to changing that narrative on supporting our brothers and sisters that are really, really struggling. Now, look, this is incredible. What you're doing is amazing. I'm surprised I'm not crying right now. But alhamdulillah, may Allah give you lots of barakah in everything, and may it be a huge, huge success. But people are watching, and we've got young kids. I would love my children to become doctors or pediatricians or gynecologists or whatever. Tell me, and both of you take your time, one at a time. So, Dr. Ali Husain, has he always been a doctor since he was 5 years old, or did he develop into a doctor?
Well, it's funny, we were actually talking about this on the drive down. I actually wanted to be a pilot.
No way.
Funnily enough. But it's just one of those things. I just enjoy planes. It's one of my sort of like hobbies. But the more I reflected upon it, I think part of it was actually the responsibility as well. There's the fun side of it, being in the air, but actually taking responsibility for people's lives.
Absolutely.
Part of the care. And I actually had a bit of a personal experience when I was younger, in that my younger brother, he's alive, alhamdulillah, but he drowned in a pond. And it was just watching that process of helping him.
Saving his life.
And it's just one of those things, really. It's just taking that, and it's just, I've been very lucky in the fact that opportunity and parents' du'as ended up directing us in the right way. So
Parents' du'as always takes us a long, long way.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Omar Khan.
It's funny you say about pilots. I want to be a pilot as well.
What is it with all these doctors? I must be a pilot.
But I said to my dad, I want to be a pilot. So no, you're not. Jokes aside, I think similarly to Ali, we had family members who were treated by NHS or paramedics and doctors, and that kind of inspired us, to be honest. So we thought if we could, you know, make a difference like that, there's no real better fulfillment than that.
Of course.
And then one thing has basically led to another opportunities, and alhamdulillah, we've been given a lot of opportunities, so we're very grateful for those opportunities to help.
Well, you know what? I think that has given me a lot of solace because my son wants to be a pilot. So I'm hoping in about 10 years' time he's going to say, I want to be a doctor now. So inshallah, you never know.
Until we start off as doctors, we're still flying now. So we get to fulfill both dreams.
I know, mashallah, exactly.
Yes.
And in that, you're changing lives, saving lives. You know, according to the hadith, you save one life and it's equivalent to saving the whole of humanity, mashallah. So may Allah give you lots of reward in that as well.
I mean, I love the fact that you've taken the traumas that you see around you and you've just come up with with viable solutions, subhanallah. So you've got these various packs. I think you've got 2 packs here, is it?
Yeah.
These are the current 2, but there
it's
are
absolutely
others.
fantastic. You know, these are things that are so needed that just having the understanding and the awareness can save one life. It's subhanallah. It's a wonderful place to be. I'm very, very pleased. Wallahi.
Yeah. Now, coming back to your medical expertise, now you're both bringing a different set of skills to the table. Although you're doing similar stuff, like with the NHS, and you're both flying in the sky, saving lives, how do you feel that your differences in your medical learning are enhancing PHAID individually?
So if you look at our team members, and you can access the directors on the website, we all come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So Dr. Ali's background is emergency medicine. My background is anaesthesia and intensive care. Then we've got doctors in renal medicine, which specialises in kidneys. We've got a doctor who specialises in obstetrics and gynecology, so that's child labour and women's health. We've got a doctor who specialises in neonatal health. We've got a doctor with a lot of experience in general practice, and then we've also got a pharmacist who deals with the drug side of things. So it's a really good skill mix that we've brought together. We have got some non-medical people as well that have helped us with the kind of charity side of things, but we are looking to recruit more from that side of things just to help us along the way. And actually, very recently, we've teamed up with an organisation called Doctors of Rahman. Doctors of Rahman are more surgical-based doctors. They've got neurosurgical consultants and trauma and orthopaedic consultants who've done life-saving brain surgery in Palestine and in other areas of the world. So we are bringing a lot of these kind of experts together. And we feel that having a diverse range of skill sets will only enhance the care that we can, inshallah, provide.
Inshallah, inshallah. Wow, it's amazing.
Wonderful.
Now, you know, we're almost out of time. I just want to remind all of our viewers that all of these instructions, all of these resources that the brothers and their team have created are available online on their website. So you can go online and take a look at it. To be fair, these are things that we should all know anyway, whether we live in a war zone or whether we live in the UK, with everything as it is right now. So let's hold up an example. Here you are. You can hold one and I'll hold one. So these are all available online. Do take your time and read through them. Do take your time and follow PHAID online as well on their socials. And there it is. We're showing it up on our screens as it is on the website, inshallah.
All of our resources are open source. They're free to share. We
Alhamdulillah,
want this
that's
message to get
amazing.
out. We want
That's
people to use
amazing.
it. The more they use it, the better it is. So.
That is amazing, honestly. So, like we said, you know, please do follow them, please do support them. And in addition to that, if you want to join their team, you've got an incredible idea that's going to make us lots of money and get us, enable us to create some of these bags. And you know, give them a ding on their social media. Inshallah, one of the team members will be in touch with you. Any final messages for our audience that are watching you this morning?
Thank you to the Islam Channel for hosting us, and to the audience for listening to the message.
Thank you for giving this opportunity to us. It means a lot to us.
No,
and I
thank
think
you so much, both of you, for coming. We know you've come from afar, so we appreciate that. Alhamdulillah. Right, well, thank you. Take care of yourselves. But what an incredible set of guests, don't you think?
I feel empowered just knowing that this is available, because it makes you feel that, okay, yes, the hospitals are being bombed. We can't control that. However, the fact that we have this alternative, we have people on the ground trying to make things better, trying to alleviate that pain and injuries, subhanAllah, it makes you feel like, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. Like the more you're pushed, the more you rise, sort of kind of thing. So,
alhamdulillah. And what a set of inspirational humans they are as well. So we really hope that, you know, our youth pay heed to what the amazing work that they're doing and follow in their footsteps, inshallah, because you know that's something we also need, our Gen Zs, to have some positive guidance in the right direction, inshallah. But anyway, that is it for this segment this morning. We've had a great time talking to both the doctors, inshallah, who are providing medical care and training in some of the world's most challenging environments, from war zones to refugees. But we're going to go for a short break, so don't go anywhere. And when we come back, what have we got?
We have cooking, inshallah.
See you soon.